Kevin isn't the only one who found himself a new home in Season 6 of The Kai. Emmett and Keisha have as well, as they brought their family to the west side of Chicago in a new home that Douda helped them purchase. It was the latest occurrence in Douda and Emmett's relationship that has a lot of people suspicious about his intentions, but it remains to be seen how it all plays out. Elsewhere in episode 2, Kevin has a new crush on Meisha. Papa really wants to go on a date with Kenya. And Rob and Bakari both have big decisions to make, and they both involve money that they make or could make for themselves. In the third episode of The Kai Season 6 titled House Party, a housewarming party at Emmett and Keisha's house is at the center of this episode. It brings all their friends, both new and old, together under one roof, and as expected, it yields good and bad results. On the good side of things, there are moments where everyone seemed unified for the first time in a long time. We see that Victor and Fatima are happier than ever, and we watch Bakari and Lainey work through their issues. Keisha forms a new friendship with Fatima thanks to home decor, and Keisha gets a long overdue apology from Nuck. On the bad side of things, Nina realizes that her kids have grown a bit distant from her. Darnell and Douda nearly come to blows. Emmett loses a dangerous gift that Douda gave him, and Emmett and Keisha get into another argument with Tiffany. In other words, it's a normal week in the Kai. Oh, and Papa makes some nice progress with Kenya. Here are some of the biggest takeaways that we have after Season 6's third episode, House Party. Emmett needs to be more honest with Keisha. Emmett has these moments where you just sit back and say, wow, look at how much you've grown. He got a house for his family, has his business in order, and both the women in his life are happy for the most part. Then there are moments where he reverts back to his old ways, and you can only shake your head in disappointment. At the end of the episode, Emmett notices that the gun Douda gifted him is missing, and he immediately goes into panic mode. This scares Keisha, who is in the room with him, and she asks him what's wrong, and Emmett's reply is nothing. Keisha warns him not to lie to her, and after a slight hesitation, Emmett once again says nothing. It's moments like these that you can see how Emmett digs a hole for himself in the progress of his relationship with Keisha. Realistically speaking, Keisha has had every reason not to trust Emmett, yet here she is next to him in a house they just bought together. The least Emmett could do is be honest with her. He didn't buy the gun, and yes, it may give Keisha another reason to not trust Douda, but at the end of the day, Keisha's trust in him should be a top priority, just as it was when he told her that Tiffany tried to make a move on him. As we've said for the last 5 seasons, it's never too late to change Emmett. Victor is winning at life, and when I say winning, I mean winning. Victor won his city council seat and things seem to be going well there. His relationship with Fatima is also going well, as she's been introduced to his friends, as we see in this week's episode. There's one moment in this week's episode that proves Victor is in a great place. We see it as he walks in on a conversation between Fatima and Keisha about home decor. A big smile comes on his face, and it's clear that he's filled with happiness and love at that moment. So it's no surprise that he goes on to ask Fatima to move in with him, and despite it only being 3 months of them dating, she happily accepts his offer. So at this moment, we're celebrating Victor, who has gone through more than enough in his life. But right now, life is good. Tiffany's stubbornness makes this unnecessarily difficult. Just as Emmett often gets in his own way, Tiffany does for herself and others. Maybe that's why they didn't work as a couple, just a whole bunch of getting in the way of everything. Anyway, Tiffany is one stubborn gal, and this episode provides another example of that. After hearing EJ call his stepbrother a BTCH, Emmett and Keisha ask Tiffany to be careful of what EJ hears when he's around her, whether it be through music or the things Tiffany or Rob says. Emmett nor Keisha were rude or mean in their approach to Tiffany, but still, their suggestion wasn't taken nicely, as Tiffany took offense to the couple telling her what should and shouldn't be done in her home. It's a stubborn response from Tiffany, who could have acknowledged that it was probably a bad thing that her son was using curse words, especially when you consider that he may be using them at school or around Keisha's kid. It's also not the first time we've seen Tiffany's stubborn side, as her refusal to believe that Emmett was over her at the end of Season 5 came from the disbelief that Emmett, just like her, could move on from their situation. In this new dynamic between Emmett, Tiffany, Keisha, and Rob, there isn't room for stubbornness or irrationality, but rather communication and consideration. Teamwork makes the dream work, as they say, and for this quartet, that's got to be their motto. Douda can now add Darnell to his list of people who don't like him. It's something that's been building up for a couple of episodes, as Darnell has taken issue with Douda's new presence in Emmett's life. It nearly came to blows in House Party once Darnell discovered that Douda gifted Emmett a gun. Darnell confronted Douda and warned that he would kill him if anything happened to Emmett or Emmett's family. Douda, the menace and master disruptor, takes no issue with Darnell's threats and even applauds him for being a protective father. Though his face-to-face interaction ends without anything more than words exchanged, it's not to be said that it won't go further than that next time. Darnell doesn't take SHT from anyone, and he's certainly okay with doing whatever is needed to protect his son. Douda, he's just a really evil guy who will do evil things to keep being evil. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have a matchup that could prove to be entertaining for the rest of the season. Keep in mind to like, share, and subscribe.